understanding all the cycles is of extreme importance. We're talking about interglacial, glacial, interglacial, glacial, interglacial, glacial, interglacial, where we are in, and we call it the Holocene. So we're in this small stretch for at least 8,000 years. Uh, but if we humans are not involved in these steep climbs, warmings, if we're not involved, then we don't see it here, then this is clearly a freak of nature. It's in a matter of hundreds or few thousand years that you climb from the deepest glacial until the highest interglacial, from the lowest to the highest temperature, from the lowest to the highest temperature, from the lowest to the highest, from the lowest to the highest. It's freaking. If it's not us humans, it's a freak of nature here going down. So I showed going up, warming, and now going down, going down. It's really crashing down. It's really crashing down from the highest to close to the lowest, from the highest to close to the lowest, from the highest to close to the lowest. And then, as we said before, a gradual further decline, a gradual further decline. It is as if each glacial auto-reinforce itself, and then we have the dust forming in that increases during each glacial, especially during the latest one, which I don't consider a very good sign. So the dust forming is much, but we're in this, and our economies and our cultures are based on Holocene. They are formed during the Holocene. The population happened during the Holocene, and the economies and the cultures are based on being in the Holocene. The Holocene meaning these curves. These curves are about Antarctica, central Antarctica, Vostok, and it's based around Antarctica being maintaining around 0 degrees Celsius. So what we cannot afford, or where we should prepare for, but I think we're not preparing for it at all. So for now, we should try to stay in this Holocene. That means we should not crash out, and we should not come above the 0 degrees, because that means that Antarctica is totally melted, totally melted, totally melted. So that is an ocean level increase of above 120 meters. So it could be meters, or it could be tens of meters above the actual sea level. So we, and especially the West, won't the West, meaning more or less everything that's outside the tropical and the subtropical regions. We would not survive. We would not. Each year, we would be confronted with more ice forming, even glaciers, and our agriculture would not produce. So, in the best case, everything that is not tropical and subtropical would depend on the food coming from the tropics and the subtropics. But of course, this is more. There will be much more going on. So we have to stay. Antarctica has to stay. We have to keep it in 0 degrees. It cannot be lower, because we do not understand these crashes of temperature. So we should not try it out. For instance, we should not try it out by blocking the sun. And we certainly should not try it out by nuclear explosions, because almost certainly we will crash into a glacial. So we should avoid uh, nuclear explosions, even tests. We should avoid blocking the sunlight, at least on a global level, because we could crash out in a glacial, crash our temperatures, and go spiraling into a glacial. Well, since we do not understand this cycle, we probably cannot get out it for 100,000 years. And in former videos, we saw that we think that these glacials are mass extinctions, especially in the regions outside of the tropics and the subtropics. So we should not crash out of the temperature, crash into a glacial, and we should not come above 0 degrees. Because coming about 0 degrees, while this is Antarctica, but it's a similar curves in the Arctic. When we get about 0 degrees in the poles, whether that's Antarctica or the Arctic, we get melting, rising of seawater, and the poles stop to control temperature. So we could go to a peak much higher than we are, and we could see extreme sea level rising meters or tens or maybe even hundreds of meters, but I suppose it's about meters and tens of meters. Anyhow, it's extremely important for us. I'm not talking about the past, what happened and what they should have done. We're talking about us. Unless we have a plan, and we certainly don't have such a plan. Unless we have a plan, we should keep Antarctica in 0 degrees. And if you look at this curve, we are losing out at least a fraction of a degree, maybe even a degree, but it's going down. So well, this increases our risk. Anyhow, the poles are about 0 degrees, so they are melting. There is melting going on, and this could stop the AMOC, the Gulf Stream, the AMOC, and stopping the AMOC could trigger an ice age in Western Europe, Western Eurasia, and also in North America. So that's why we should not rise further, and we should not go down, because we could crash down. We don't understand these crashings. So first of all, we should learn about these cycles, and there's almost no attention to these cycles. We should pay attention to these cycles and to everything that is related to them. So I have a few videos and already, and Origin for Existence has several videos that are much more structured than mine. So anyhow, understanding these cycles is of extreme importance, and we kick off in these videos a few hypotheses that we do not see in other places, and we correlate them to dust and whatever that could mean. It's probably a forest and soil degradation at every end of the glacials, especially the latest.